Welcome to the Lord's Minute, our quick hit video series where we break down all the biggest happenings in gaming and beyond. I'm your host, Josh Redding, editor-in-chief of Lords of Gaming, and with me today is Lord Cognito. Our question for the day is, with the launch of Season of the Splicer in Destiny, we see Mithrax joining the cause. So, by the time we get to Lightfall, will every Destiny enemy race be standing by our side? I think no, but it's going to be close. Lord Cognito.
What's up, man? Josh Redding in the building, lordsofgaming.net in the building. Yeah, I see you. Yeah, man, it's a good question. Obviously the new season has started, Season of the Splicer. I'm very excited. I just started it. And the question becomes, does every race? Because when we see, spoilers for those who have not started it yet, but we see basically an alliance with a fallen house now called the House of Light. And when we're working with Mithrax has a tremendous history for the Guardians. If you don't remember from the 0 Hour mission, he's been kind of helping us. And in this DLC, he's going to be helping us try to figure out through the Vex network how they were able to simulate this dark situation where we don't have a sun. We're unable to get the sun right now. So it's really cool. We see fallen babies and refugees, which is always fun. And the question becomes, does every race happen? Now, we just came off of the Keitel situation with Season of the Chosen. She bent the knee. She bent the knee. I like that. She bent the knee. And through Cabal tradition, we've proven ourselves worthy in combat. And now she is an ally. I was hoping that we'd get a nice transition from her into this, but she kind of just disappeared. Hopefully we'll find out what happened. But the question becomes, will all, and I'm agreeing with you, Josh, I don't think all. The Cabal makes sense. They kind of tattered, broken, Callus is missing, Cato is compliant. The Fallen are all over the place broken. So we've seen Aramis, we've seen that situation, Varix is in pocket, now Mithrax. So that's that. Then it leaves the Vex and the Hive. The Hive ain't never.
So we say never, but
talk to me.
We got the sword. The Hive follow the sword logic, right?
That is correct.
And so right now, the sword logic has dictated that there is a vacancy in the throne of Oryx that has been fulfilled by the Witch Queen, by Savathun.
Yes.
And so Witch Queen, we know now, has been delayed. It's being launched in January. And presumably it will culminate with us defeating the Witch Queen.
Absolutely.
Spoiler alert. We'll probably end up killing Savathun. But so with Savathun gone, with Oryx gone, that means that, and we did it. We killed them. So is it possible that now that maybe we will do what we didn't at the end of the Taken King and step up and say, sword logic dictates the Hive, we own you now?
It's a good question. It's a possibility. It's definitely a possibility. I still have to wonder where a good Queen Mara falls into line with all this, because she's a
wild card.
She's a wild card. We don't really know what's going on with her. And then also with Aldrin being back, aka Crow, what her role, are they going to be adversarial? You know what I'm saying? As opposed to, based on now he's with the light. Good question. It will be interesting to see, because we know after Witch Queen, it's Lightfall, and Lightfall supposedly ends the Light and Dark saga, according to these guys, the top guys, Luke Smith, and Mark Noseworthy. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. The Vex, to me, the Vex and the Hive just never. Now, I mean, you got a good point with the Hive, but the Vex, I feel that they're just machine. They're sentient. They're this one hive mind kind of situation. I just don't see them. I mean, even in the season, I think it's a Shadowkeep season, when we were doing the other content with Ikora, they were invading. They seemed like almost agents of the darkness and wanting to help them accomplish that goal. And when you finish the Garden of Salvation raid, so yeah, this is
ironically, I do agree. I do think that the Vex, maybe even over the Hive, have the greatest potential to not join up with the Guardians.
Right. So yeah, I mean, the vibe I'm getting, it's almost like this Avengers level team up vibe I'm getting, which is like Cabal, Fallen, and then obviously the Guardian themselves, and going up against this great evil. And my ultimate guess is, hopefully, either after Witch King, before Lightfall, we get that additional darkness race, so to speak. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
they've been
And what
rumored for forever.
forever we've seen the shadowy figures again. If you did the Shadow Keep campaign inside, we've seen that shadowy statue figure again, when you do the Garden of Salvation. So my guess is that is kind of a silhouette of the life form, so to speak, that they may take. So in my opinion, we're going to need as much power as we can to go up against these forces. But it's a good question, man. It's a great question. I'm excited.
Well, and if you played the opening mission of Season of the Spicer, you see that you enter into the Vex network, and it is a very Tron style aesthetic to it. But it's not just a Tron style aesthetic, but it also really harkened back, in my mind, to the Prophecy Dungeon.
Yes.
So
Yes.
very similar color palettes and stylings to what we saw in going into the realm of the Nine. And so, we mentioned Marasov as a wild card, but the Nine are just as big of a wild card in what the final confrontation is going to look like with the darkness.
Absolutely, man. I agree. It's setting up some fun things. Bungie has some great threads here. The key is going to be how they put it together, giving it full narrative fan service and cohesion. And I'm excited, man. I want to know if they can pull this off. And I'm really hyped, man. I'm really hyped because the races, everyone's kind of falling into position to where they might be.
Yeah, and I think they've done a good job of making named and now voiced protagonists for each of the different races, which is one thing that the Vex have really struggled with. In each of the seasons in Garden of Salvation raid, there has been a real lack of named Vex characters that people know. Really, Atheon from Vault of Glass is still the most well-known Vex that exists.
Maybe Panoptes. That was the only one I remember. After that, in the Curse of the famed Curse of Osiris DLC,
the infamy.
But yeah, the infamy that lives in infamy. But you're right. They don't have a single entity. I guess it's just based on the strength. They almost remind me of Get the Mass Effect. It's just like they're a collective, But I agree. I think they would hit harder if there was a singular controller, so to speak. But to your point, I hear where you're going with that.
Or even an aberrant, an Agent Smith, if you will, for the Vex, who's kind of a little bit outside of the collective to give them a voice, instead of just the nameless hordes, which, I mean, we certainly have lots of nameless hordes in Destiny, but it's been nice, especially the voice work that we see, even in just this intro mission. We have a voice for Mithrax now. We get some voice work from Ikora. Lakshmi 2 is back. I've repped Future War Cult since Destiny 1. So all of that it bodes well for this season. It seems like the lessons that they have learned over the course of the last couple seasons and has really come to fruition. And last season was the best season, in my opinion, that Destiny's ever had.
Oh, I agree.
And
narratively, knocked it out the park.
Yeah, and I think a big part of that is the voice work and having real character interactions, which has been kind of a side of Destiny that they haven't always leaned into. So I've been pretty happy to see that. So any last thoughts?
No, you pretty much nailed it. I mean, I completely agree with you with the narrative aspect with voice acting. I feel it really makes the world alive. I feel it's a collective. You connect with the characters. You get to see characters who I feel when they interact with each other, you're like, okay, I wonder how this person truly feels about this. And because they're all strong personalities, each of them, whether it be Osiris and Saladin, especially really put his hooks into that last season. Now, like you said, we get into this season, we see Lakshmi, I think I always butcher her name, but it's good to see her, you know what I'm saying? And then obviously Mithrax, his motivations, where he's at. And yeah, man, Destiny's at its best when they do this. And I love that this is the new direction. I don't know if it's COVID influence, but whatever it is, stick to it. We like voice acting.
Amen. Well, thank you so much for joining us for the Lord's Minute. We are live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at lordsofgaming.net. I'm Josh Redding, editor-in-chief of Lords of Gaming, here with Lord Cognito. And until next time, this has been the Lord's Minute.
Peace.